This video is for entertainment purposes only. The guilt or innocence of people is not for me to decide. The only behavior that I am responsible for is my own. Please be kind.
A lot of people who seem to think like I do, and I wanted to share the fact that I've been diagnosed as a HSP. That's a highly sensitive.
You've been diagnosed as an HSP? By whom? I don't think that's an actual diagnosis, ma'am.
Person. I think there may be a lot of people like me out there, and I just thought I'd want to share this and maybe see if you guys are this way, if you know someone or love someone with this highly sensitive personality. So I just want to go over some basics. It says some examples of HSP characteristics are they often absolutely abhor violence, abuse, neglect, and cruelty. The way that I feel about Summer and her pictures with bruises and her looking like she has never been fed.
Looking like she has never been fed. I've not seen those pictures. Do HSP sufferers like lying?
That's why I get so spun up and upset to the point of...
I do not like when I get spun up. When I get spun up, it's horrible. And I do not want you to get spun up. I do not want anyone to get spun up.
Almost a breakdown is because I just feel things more deeply. It's kind of like having nerves on the outside of your skin. So that what somebody might feel is, oh, that's sad, how awful. It will put me in bed for 2 days crying.
Ma'am, if watching a YouTube video puts you in bed for 2 days, I suggest you not watch anymore. Please don't make any more. Please get off YouTube.
So I am very different in that way. So I feel things way more deeply. And that includes every emotion. That's anger. That's being hurt. It's sadness and depression too. When I was a little child, as far back as I can remember, probably about age 3, my mom would buy me new clothes and have me try them on. But I only wanted used, broken-in clothing. She would put a new dress on me, and I would stiffen out my limbs and say, it's too scratchy. And I
know a lot of little kids like that. Get to the point.
Wondered why I was such a little weirdo like that.
I wonder why you're a little weirdo too.
Other kids don't do that. And I was just...
Lots of other kids do that.
Determined that that was too scratchy. I didn't like it. I don't like how stiff it felt. And come to find out, that's actually a trait of being an HSP.
Oh my God, is it a trait of being an HSP?
Entire nervous system, including your feelings, but also in other ways, physical sensory issues are way amplified. This is an article from Healthline. It was written by a psychiatrist who is a HSP.
I'm going to skip through this because it's absolutely stupid.
Herself, and I just thought this important rule of all: if you have any questions, raise your hand. I assumed she was frustrated. If she spoke too fast, I thought she was impatient. So what I want to say is my husband calls me psychic. What I think that I have...
He's the only one.
It's not psychic. I can't tell the future.
No, you can't.
And things like that. What I do think is that what comes along with being an HSP is that I can look at pictures of people or look at people, in person, look at people's faces and tiny movements and body language and all of that. And I can pick up a lot about them at first sight. I can really get...
Well, aren't you damn amazing? You are a superhero. You have such abilities.
I don't know if I'm reading vibes. I know I'm noticing emotion. I'm super sensitive to that. And a lot of times I've been right. A lot. I'll give you an example.
I'm sure there's a lot of times you've been wrong too.
My daughter wanted me to watch that Netflix show, Ultimatum. And my husband and I started watching it together. And there was a girl on there who had a guy who was crazy about her, but she did not want to marry him. She was not ready. And she talked a little bit just about their relationship. She didn't say anything about her childhood or anything to back that up. And I looked at my husband. I was like, she grew up in a home where there was a bad divorce. Like, it was ugly. I can tell.
Gosh. You are amazing. That right there just proves it.
The way she talks about marriage, I can tell. So a few minutes later, she starts telling more of her story, and sure enough, there was a huge, ugly divorce. And
Sure enough. Oh my God, did you know that like 60% of people come from broken homes?
husband's just laughing at me. He's like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm as perplexed on this as you are. I have another story.
I'm sure you are perplexed.
So you can tell I like reality TV, and it's embarrassing. But I was watching that Married at First
I'm actually feeling secondhand embarrassment for you right this minute.
Sight show. I don't know if anybody's seen that. But there was a couple who had got married at first sight. They were not getting along. And so they had a professional counselor, which was on the team there of the show, come in and counsel with them. And I'm also watching this with my husband, and I said, that counselor wants that guy for herself. And my husband Blake was like, what? What are you talking about? She's a counselor. And I said, I can tell by the way she's looking at him and talking to him. He was like, there's nothing there, Holly. So I go and look it up because it had been filmed a couple years ago, and they're married now. The counselor and the
So let me get this straight. You're watching a 2-year-old reality show, and you, being the mastermind that you are, recognized that the counselor wanted the person she was counseling, which that's pretty much illegal, I do believe that, and if they did it, I'm sure they would not put it online.
the guy on the show, they're very happily married. So I don't know what it is, but I think they're players in this Summer Wells case that I pick up on things that really bother me. Now,
Look, we are on 11th month now. I have just heard about you recently. I'm going to look and see when you did your first video, but you hadn't been around long enough to pick up on anything.
whether I'm truly right in my instincts on this or not, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm 100%.
I do know you're not right.
I think there's a lot of things to work through when you have this, because everything's your radar is on so strongly. You certainly may be picking up on things that aren't there. And so when I try to show,
Well, when my radar is on so strongly, I certainly do pick up on things. Most of them are there. I don't usually pick up on things that are not there.
that people are lying, is because I picked up on it right away that there's, contradictions in what they say. There's, just.
You can pick up online right away? Well, we don't need to have trials anymore or court. We just need to call you and you can tell us who's guilty and who's not.
What they talk about, and having listened to them, I just gut level know something's up. Something is not right here.
Wow, you are amazing.
And so that's where all the emotion comes about cracking cases. I feel like they are con artists. I picked that up day one. I wish I could change my mind about that.
All right, let's take a common sense approach to the theory that cracking cases are con artists, just scammers in it for the money. Okay, first of all, they never ask for money during their shows. When someone does donate to them, they almost act like they want to give it back. They're just, oh, you didn't need to do that. They're very grateful. But if I was going to come into the Summer Wells case and scam, hold on, my dog needs to get on the bed. Come here, my booby. Come here. Come here. You gotta quit wiggling. I can't pick you up when you're wiggling. Come here. Come here. There you go. All right, if I was gonna come in and try and make money off Summer Wells, this is what I would do. First of all, I would jump on the hate Candace train, because the people that hate Candace have the most money and they donate the most. I don't know why that is. It is. Then I would say I was psychic, because for some reason those psychic people donate a lot. Then I would never sympathize or even appear to be supporting the parents. I would go with a bunch of speculation. I would go on rumors. I would not try to be factually based, which is everything that Cam is not. So, accusing them of being grifters is really not very intelligent, because common sense would tell you that if they are grifting, they're not doing it very well.
And what I'm deciding to do is just push it away. Don't listen to them anymore. It's, I'm never going to be able to.
Please don't listen to them anymore, because what I just described as a grifter really describes you, but they already have enough people watching them. They don't really need you to watch them. And if you don't have anything nice to say about them, who have invested their own money and gone down there and actually searched for Summer, which I would like to know what you have done to find Summer, other than just make hateful, snarky videos, please leave that in the comments below. Thank you.
Prove my point with them, and just pray that, if there is something crooked there, then God will bring it out into the light. And,
God sure does not like ugly.
That justice will be served. But I have to protect.
That's what I want. I think that's what Cam wants too. We want justice to be served for whoever is responsible for Summer not being here. I want them personally to spend the rest of their lives in jail, if not worse. Now, there's a chance that nobody is responsible for that. There's a chance she did get lost and they just didn't find her. Or, taken by an animal, whatever. I hate to even think about that. In my heart, I feel like she's alive, but I am not a psychic, so, that's just my feeling, and probably not true, because statistically, it would point to that she's not. But that little girl I was taken with her, and it would break my heart if she wasn't. I want whoever did this little girl wrong to pay. That's what I want. I just don't think that there's enough factual evidence to warrant the amount of hate and nastiness we have put towards these parents. Now, I am not a fan of Dawn Wells at all. However, I still don't believe that until I see some factual evidence that substantiates he's guilty, that I should assume that he is. Or that I should put hate towards him and treat him like he is. because there's a chance that they're not. And how can we treat someone who could have nothing to do with their children or their child being missing, whose daughter was taken? How can we be mean to them? I mean, that would be the worst thing I could think that ever happened to me. I think any mother could say that. And the thing about, oh, she's lost all her children. There's no evidence that she's lost her boys. And for 13 years, despite all these rumors of CPS was hot on their tail and all this other stuff, nobody ever took custody of those boys. The oldest one's 13. And they didn't run from DFACS or CPS or whatever you want to call them, because they've lived in the same house now for 11 years. Or it's 9 or 11. I want to be factual. It could be either one. But let's even say 9 years. You can't run from CPS if you live in the same house for 9 years. And true fact is, you don't have to open the door to CPS. You don't have to let them in. And I would advise anyone not to. Because where I live, I see a lot of young mothers who they run in and take their infants and adopt them out within like 6 months. And the girls are poor and they don't have any money to get an attorney and fight CPS, and they lose their children for things like smoking pot. That concerns me. But that's a whole nother story.
Myself, a lot, because, things that would maybe hurt somebody's feelings hurt my feelings like a million times more. So I know I should take care of.
Then you should just isolate yourself and do not get on YouTube. That's the worst place you can be, lady.
Myself by protecting myself. And I promised myself, if YouTube became a really volatile, mean, hateful place to me, then I would pull out. So, I'm
not trying to be mean or hateful to you. I just think that you have a lot of gall to come up here and say that you can tell who's lying by looking at them. Because that's not possible. Or listening to them or picking up on their subtle nuances.
That's still in the wings.